How are you, Eddie?
Good.
Good. Remember TJ?
Yes, I do. Hey, TJ.
Hey,
This is TJ's son, Josh.
hello.
We're out in Vegas.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you know, when you get a world famous speaker like Brad Pole, you want to bring them all in. So,
Yeah. Just talked to Brad today.
Can remember watching you play quarterback.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I always tell people I was a great tackling quarterback.
Yeah. After you threw the interception.
Oh, yeah. Someone had to get them. At least I knew where they were.
He put his yellow jersey on for us during Bible study last week.
what's that?
Ed put his yellow jersey on it during our Saturday Bible study last week. He still
Really?
It's part of the armor, the chest plate.
There you go. Yeah.
I had it in my closet, so
Okay.
I pulled it out. Every once in a while, I put it on. Means nobody can hit me.
I know the last time, it's been about 5 years since I was in Sioux Falls and went by the campus, and where the old practice football field, it's all filled up with buildings now. Didn't even recognize the place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little nicer. They have a little nicer facilities than we had when we played.
Yeah.
That's why we had a hard time scoring. We only had a 60-yard field, you know. Got out to Howard Wood. We quit at about 40 yards short.
Campus Park is still there though. It's still the
Yeah.
same distance.
That was the auxiliary practice field, wasn't it? When
Yeah.
we tore the
When we
stuff.
didn't have any grass left, you went over there and that was
That's
nothing
right.
but weeds.
Mhm. Are you in the golf outing tomorrow, Eddie?
Yeah, me and Rem are playing together with Dufik and Wu.
Okay.
We got a good group.
Tell, yeah, make sure Wu brings his money, okay? Yep.
And they're playing high school football in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not playing any sports here.
Yeah.
Coach Young,
Hey,
remember this kid?
who's that guy? He's got a lot more hair than you got.
Yeah.
They all do.
Good to see you, TJ.
Yeah, you too. You look like you're ready to coach with the headset on.
He is.
Well,
This
Chad,
is my grandson, Josh, Bob.
what's that?
This is Josh, my grandson. He's a junior out at the Lutheran High School here.
Hi, Josh.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Good to see you. Well, Kalen, maybe.
What's going on, guys? Ed, Tim.
Eddie DeBoer.
Dad.
Caleb DeBoer. How are you, buddy?
It's good to see you guys. I'm good.
Good to see
I'm
you.
good.
Hey, Kalen, are you guys getting close to playing? I was San Jose State's quarterback is going to be, I think, Nick Starkle, who his dad and I went to high school together. I think I told you about him when you were at Eastern
When
Michigan.
I was at Eastern Michigan, I know we
Yeah.
we offered him when he was down in Texas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he said that he talked to Nick today, and he said they're talking about a possibility of you guys playing.
Yeah, it's every hour it's something different. By the time we get off the Zoom call, there'll be more updates, but it's been crazy. So the pressure put on by the Big Ten and the Pac-12, and I think even the MAC is talking now, you know, as well. So puts a lot of pressure on the presidents to make sure they're not left out, and more pressure on us because we might be the only team in FBS that hasn't come back. You know, I haven't seen our guys since March 12th. So, and I can explain kind of to the group, but our county is just it's very unique, and we got a high we have a high rate. It's coming down, and I can explain that in more detail, but. We're hoping. We feel like we're close to where we could get the guys back, but it might be a real quick turnaround putting the team together here in a couple weeks to be able to play a football game. So it's
You're not on campus, Kalen?
they're not on campus. No, Yeah, I haven't seen the guys here. I mean, I've seen individuals come in for like individual rehab, all summer long, all fall or summer, I guess. And so I see them that way, but we have not been together as a unit or a team since March 12th at 8 o'clock that night. So, but what's up, Raleigh?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Rojas, is that right? Holy cow.
Hey, Kalen, how
Yeah.
are you?
Good, good. Good to see all you guys.
Alex, look who I brought on tonight. TJ.
Hey,
Hey, ¿cómo está?
hey. Hacer que volar.
Yeah, there you go. Que hola. Que vuelta.
Yeah.
This is my
How are
grandson,
you?
Josh.
Hello.
This
Oh
is
my
TJ's
goodness,
son,
look at
Josh.
that.
Nice to meet you.
All right, he speaks Spanish too?
Más o menos.
Ah, mira, que bien. Kalen, your Spanish should be improving living in California.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter's taking it and as a freshman here, she's finally feeling like she can talk to some of her softball teammates a little bit and have some fun with it, you know. So
Yeah.
obviously they know how to speak English, but she don't know how to speak their Spanish. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
Coach Young, is Brian Hansen going to join tonight?
I don't know.
Okay. Josh wanted to see what a professional athlete looked like.
Okay.
Not any of these.
I
We'll see.
better text him and tell him to get on, okay?
You better,
Yeah,
yep.
someone's very important.
Coach, what you got you didn't have those headphones the last time I saw you on the Zoom call.
You know, Chad continues to upgrade my abilities.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But it looks like he's talking to somebody in the press box.
Yeah.
I knew Kalen might be up there, so I thought I better put the headphones on down below. But I didn't
John
want to.
Stanley. I figured out this afternoon your Valley City joke on John Stanley, Bob, and
Oh, did you really?
I forgot all about that. They're driving home from Northern after scouting Valley City. And at Watertown, Bob got tired, so he asked John, if you were coaching, John, how would you attack Valley City? Bob went to sleep. He woke up at Brookings, and John was still talking. So he would get the H-back out in motion, and then he'd get him underneath, and he had all sorts of terminology.
Oh.
Quite a
Hello,
job.
Brad Pole.
Hello.
Brad.
Hey,
Brad.
Kalen. Look at Coach Heupel.
It
Tim
is
Heupel, man, I haven't seen you in like
100 years.
100 years,
Okay.
at least 100 years. Man.
This is
wow.
TJ, Brad,
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
and my grandson, Josh.
And a
Hello.
grandson, Josh. Nice to meet you, Josh.
You too.
Yeah,
Wow.
Kaylin, TJ lives out here, teaches at the Lutheran High School in Vegas, so we were all set to join you on
Which one?
October 31st.
Which one?
Faith Lutheran,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
not Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, you'd rather have Bishop Gorman, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're a little different.
Who is the head football coach there at Faith Lutheran?
Vernon Fox.
Yeah, he's a Fresno alum.
Right.
I talked to Vernon. I've talked to Vernon quite a bit. So
Yeah, real good guy.
he resigned, I think, going into his character building.
Yep.
Yeah, but played in the NFL for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was the head coach there.
Kalen, you remind me, seeing you again, it reminds me when I was pitching in high school and the coach at Sioux Falls invited me to practice with you guys once in a while. And after you hitting against me, I pretty much wanted to give up as being a pitcher.
Yeah.
I never saw anyone hit a ball like that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, that's a good conference out here with Fresno State and the schools that you play against.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really good. We need to, that's the thing. Everyone's fighting to keep their status. You know, we kind of see ourselves as the conference that's the top group of 5 conference, but with the American conference playing football right now, you know, that jockeying for kind of your position, that status is a big deal amongst the conference commissioners and the conference, you know, representatives. So, yep.
Ryan Rollinger, your son is doing a good job over there at Harrisburg.
He's got his moments.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, they had him on the highlights.
What's he play, Ryan?
He's playing receiver.
Okay.
He's a tall, big possession receiver.
Okay.
Reminds me of somebody.
What year is he?
He's a senior.
Senior?
Yep,
Is your quarterback a junior there?
correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brad, are there any fish in that pond behind you? Any trout?
No, I mean, I got to admit, it's a fake pond.
Oh, shoot.
Where's Ethan at now, Brad?
Ethan. Yeah, Ethan is in Decorah, Iowa.
Okay.
And so he's a marketing director for Grizzly Coolers. They're like a Yeti cooler. And then he runs his own outdoor video, you know, content company. And then he also has a guide service over there. He guides fly fishermen over in Northeast Iowa.
Nice. Tell him I said hi.
I will.
Have good memories of running around football practice with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Tagbo's 8 and Ethan and
Yeah.
TJ.
Oh, man. That's some water under the bridge looking back at
That
that.
is a shot.
Yeah. I see Alex Rojas is here. Alex,
Watching you, Brad. I'm keeping
you
an
really
eye on
aged
you.
well, Alex. You look good.
Well, thank you very much. So did you.
I was with Mickey Lambert a couple weeks ago, and I was recalling the story of you punching that guy from Black Hill State. And it's one of the fondest memories of my career, that whole game, seeing Coach Heupel sucked into the crowd, you know, when it all broke loose, and you standing there defending your quarterback. And yeah, it was it's seared into my mind as just a great memory. So it's great to see you.
I didn't become a Buddhist or nothing. I just try to avoid those later in life.
Okay.
Ed, you've been
He had it coming.
Ed, I've thought about you the last time. I don't know if I sent the message or not. I don't know if it got through to you. I was thinking about the powder horn, doing some golfing. Coach Young and I were talking about that the other couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, that's been a while.
it has been.
Last trip we made was out, we did Rapid City, the Red Rock course there, and then Devil's Tower was the last trip we ever took out there with Stugart.
Mhm.
And we took our boys out and just had a riot, and had some of the Lincoln golf team and his son and the two of us, and we just went out there and got to play the Red Rock by some connection he had for free. And then we went to the Devil's Tower, and they screwed up our tee time, and the owner was there, so he came up and just comped us. So we played 2 great courses for free.
Wow.
It was a great weekend.
That's awesome. Nels, are you on there? Hey, Nels,
Yep,
what's going on, man?
nothing much.
Old roomie right there. Good.
Right.
They want to see what you look like, Adam.
I'll turn it on, I guess.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you.
Thanks, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Good to see you.
Zig, can you put your name on besides your picture?
Well, I'm on my phone tonight, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to get this downloaded to my computer, my home computer.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, you guys have probably seen this too, but my kids are, they gotta take everything Zoom. So their classes and stuff, I got an 8th freshman and a 3rd grader, and everything's Zoom right now. you know, and so with their school, they had one boy that, you know, how when you lose your connection, it says reconnecting. He changed his name to reconnecting ...
Everyone does that. It's like a big trend right now.
Oh gosh, I thought that was the smartest thing. I thought that was
I
funny.
know this one class, they all planned it and they all did it at the exact same time for the teacher, and she was so confused.
And then she called on him on the kid, and the kid, you know, shut off his screen, and reconnecting ... came up. It's good.
Well, guys, should we get started? I got an email from Coach Anderson today about Trev, his son. Good news that they're home. So they got to come home, and they get to be home till Sunday. And then Amanda's going to take Trev back to Omaha. So for those of you that don't know, Coach Anderson, the coach of the coup right now, his son was in a terrible car accident. They put him in an induced coma to reduce brain swelling. When they tried to pull him, he didn't wake up right away. And it turned out that there was some brain damage there. So they shipped him to Omaha for rehab, and he's done really well. And so he had a really good note for us today. We're finally home, kind of after 8 weeks to the day of the accident. We're excited to have Trev. And
Dad,
so
could
all
you
is
mute Coach Young?
oh yeah.
You're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. So 8 weeks to the day of the accident, Trev came home with his family. A whole bunch of buddies and family friends were there to greet him. With the COVID deal, they were kind of keeping their distance. But he was just unbelievably excited to be home. They watched some football together. They did some family stuff together and had some meals. So huge answer to prayer there with Trev home. Again, they're going back to Omaha on Sunday, and they'll be there for a week, then back for a week, then there for a week, and they're going to do a week on and a week off and trade off. Another thing in news was Tommy Rice called in. His wife Jenny had a bone scan. She has they've chased cancer kind of all over her body for the last 2 years, and she had a great bone scan today where the bone in her left femur is thickening. Those of you that don't know, they kind of chased the cancer around. They finally found it a couple weeks ago in her right femur, and they inserted, the bone was so weak, they inserted a rod, and thought they were gonna have to do the same thing with the left, but with the treatment, she's doing pretty good. So he called to tell me to tell you all, thanks for the prayers. For sure, she had a really good day today, really good report there.
I see the Canes are playing, Alex, huh?
I heard that.
Yeah. You don't watch them?
I have not watched any. I'm one of those guys that is protesting not college football but professional sports, and I've been busy doing other things, you know, with my family and watching my grandkids grow. And my wife and I have our place in Europe, which we're trying to monitor from here because we haven't been able to visit, and so I got other things, Tim, that are keeping me occupied other than watching sports. But I do enjoy listening to the stories of all the guys, and Caitlin, I follow him, you know, secretly. I creep on him. Like Jay Wu does, I call it. I creep on him and see what he's doing over there and keep track of most of them guys. But the University of Miami does have mandatory testing for every single student on the campus. They have a whole regimen. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal here. I'm not as versed as Kalen is. You know, I read that.
Interestingly, Kalen, your smoke from your fires has made it all the way to Michigan.
I heard it was in South Dakota. My mom actually took a picture in Millbank and sent it to me. And then I saw in Indianapolis, following the Indiana group that was there. So Yeah.
We have the most gorgeous sunrises and sunsets right now because you can look at the sun because it's shining through the smoke, but you just see this big ball of orange.
Yeah. What it's turned into here, when you can see the sun, and today was the first day you could really see it in probably the last week or so. It looks like a pink highlighter kind of out there. It's really, and just to give you an idea, even in our house, on the side closest to the mountain, where the fires are at, my daughter's room is there, and I walked from my bedroom to her bedroom, and as I get closer to that wall and her bedroom, it smells like a bonfire. It smells like you can smell it in your house. And so it wasn't as bad today. The last 2 days it hasn't been as bad, but that's how strong it is.
Yeah, Kalen, do you remember Jack when he used to go out to my son, the little guy, go out to those Wyoming golf tournaments?
Yep.
He actually spent 3 years fighting fires for the Forest Service out of Bonners Ferry, Idaho. So he fought fires in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, California. He said those desert fires were the worst because it's like 105 degrees and you're on a fire line for 5-7 days. But the shower's good after.
Our heat, I don't know what, we didn't set a record on the number of days. I think this was the second hottest August that we've ever had here on history. But, the last year I was here, it was 30 straight days over 100 degrees. Last week when the fires were going on, we hit 112, 113, and 114, I think, even for a little bit. So it's not so much the heat, more of just the fire.
Yeah, my senior year of high school, our first high school football game, we played Libby in northwest Montana, and we had to take a different route through Idaho because Highway 2 was shut down west of Kalispell because of a fire. And after the game, when we went home, there was fire on both sides of the highway. They opened it up, and we got to drive right through it. It was crazy. That fire stuff is nuts, especially the air quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the update, Kalen. We're going to
You
bring on Brad. Yeah, thanks. It's always good to see you, Kalen. It really is. We're so proud of you, man. Brad Pole, you're up.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on. Bob reached out and asked me to come on and talk and share a little bit about what I'm doing now. And I get on here and I look at faces, and I mentioned Alex. I see Bobby Booth, and I see Kevin Mosier down here on the phone, and man, I think it's Greg Carroll and Bruce Moeller, and man, guys I have not seen in like Coach Heupel said, it seems like 100 years. And I'd love nothing more than to just sit down and have a beer and talk and see how life's been for the last 30, 40, or 50, whatever it's been. I mean, I left the coup in '85, and that's a while back, fellas. So I Coach asked me to kind of give this whole thing a title, and the first head coaching job I had was at Luther College down in Decorah, Iowa. And when I was down there, there was an Irishman who was the rugby coach.
Oh.
And he came by the office one Saturday. I usually obviously got in early in the morning, and he said to me, he said, "You've got a match on the pitch with a bunch of laddies today, don't you?" And I was like, what did you just say? He says, "A match on a pitch with a bunch of laddies." Well, I got the laddies part. I figured that was my guys. I sort of got the match, but I couldn't figure out what the pitch was. He says, "Well, a field, it's got a pitch to it, so the water drains off, Says, we used to call it a crown." But I came away from that conversation just sort of captivated by that line of a match on a pitch with a bunch of laddies. And I left football really in January of this year, 2020. So for the last 52 years, my life revolved around, the grass, around being on the pitch. And So, I raised my family in that. I met you guys in that. I grew up in that. I grew up and I grew old in that. So 52 years is a while. So I got done and I got involved in this nonprofit that I started. It's called Grid Quest. And if you look on my website, it's gridquest.com, you'll see it says Catholic Men's Outdoor Adventures Service. Our mission is to encourage men in their faith life, building faith with their families, okay, and going on adventures that really inspire us. And most importantly, becoming better friends with Jesus Christ. I mean, my thing right now is just trying to encourage guys, trying to encourage men wherever you're at in your faith. Most all the stuff we do is, yeah, you could say it's Catholic oriented, but I mean, everybody can go. And so it's not like an inclusive thing. But I think about this concept. I get back to this theme of the pitch is, if you've got a really narrow house, a really small house, you find if you look at a really small house, the pitch on the house is pretty steep. But when you get a bigger house, the pitch broadens a little bit. And as it broadens a little bit, we usually refer to something like that as being forgiving. And I think after, a lifetime, you look back on things and you realize how important it is, to forgive. I want to tell you a story right now about 3 flies, though. So, we're just kind of getting done with summer, and I just got done today with the patio outside. I got a new house, and so we poured a patio and did some pavers and all that sort of thing. And so I love, patio life. So, I like eating outside. I like grilling, like all that. But, in the summer, you got a lot of what? You got a lot of flies, right? And they bug you. They're always flying around your food, getting your food, you're swatting them away, that sort of thing. So there's this man who goes to the park and he's going to have lunch. And so he brings along a roll of bologna and a knife, and he's cutting slices of bologna, and there's these 3 flies flying around. And he keeps kind of shooing them away as he cuts the bologna and puts on a slice of bread, a little mustard on there, slaps the other half on it, hands it to one of his kids. And he finally gets done, and he leaves the knife and he leaves the cutting board and basically says, "You can have at it now, flies," and he walks away. Well, 2 of the flies go immediately for the cutting board. 1 of the flies goes for the knife. So the 2 on the cutting board are working along and they're eating up all the little pieces of bologna that are left on the cutting board. The one on the knife starts at the tip. He starts working his way down, working his way down, working his way down, until he finally gets all the way down to the handle. He's eating everything, and on the handle, he takes off. He's going to head for the cutting board with his 2 buddies. Help them finish up. There's more over there. Mid-flight, he dies. Flies don't live very long. He just keels over. Well, the 2 flies on the cutting board, one looks at the other one and he says, he should have known that you can't fly off the handle when you're full of bologna. So I want you to remember that.
Okay.
So getting back to this idea of the pitch, when I was young, this happened to me. And then when I got older, I kind of started to study a little bit about the idea of adventures and what it meant to go on adventures. And the other thing that kind of came up in this process was the idea of how I grew up. And when I was 13 years old, I was like most 13-year-old guys. I didn't listen very well. I was lazy at times. I was always like preoccupied with something. And we had a working ranch, and my dad was very disappointed in me during this last week. So I'd taken a couple whoopings from him. I mean, we were on very good terms. And he took off on his usual trucking trip. And so my mom knew that we were mad at each other. So on Tuesday night, my dad was coming back from Phoenix, Arizona, and heading up through Four Corners, going to head up right through your country, Kaylin. We used to go to Visalia and the auction yard and that area up in there. And so we met him at Four Corners for dinner. My mom and I did. I'm 13 years old. My dad's still pissed off. So we have dinner. We say goodbye. It's not a great goodbye. And my mom and I drive home. It's about a 2.5-hour drive home. She wakes me up in the morning at about 7 o'clock. She doesn't look very good when she wakes me up. She looks at me and she says, "Your dad was killed last night." And so all of a sudden now my dad's gone. He's pissed off at me. I'm sort of pissed off at him. But it's all over. So I'm pretty angry. I'm pretty angry in life right now. I'm 13 years old, and I do a lot of stuff that ain't very good. My mom has to send me away for a year because she can't control me. And, I finally come back, but, I develop an attitude. I develop an attitude that like, I'm going to get it done on my own and I don't really trust anybody and so on and so forth. So I stay angry. And I think because I was kind of a fatherless son, I think I always related to guys that, maybe didn't have a dad or, had a tough family life or some deal like that. I mean, I could just kind of relate. Not that I knew how their life went, but I guess maybe I just kind of understood the pain of being out there on your own. And I think that was kind of part of me. When I went to the coup, I was there in '82. It was the year before Coach Young came. And during fall camp, my wife and I were having our second son, and we lost our son in childbirth. And, that was another great loss. It made me kind of sink inside. I kind of hid myself in football. I kind of ran to the practice field and, got involved and, just kind of got lost in it because the pain was so great. And another thing that made me kind of angry as a man. So, but you find out, that life on the pitch kind of teaches you something. You find out that, your faith life is something that is a growing process. It's not something that you just, you don't just go out and find it under a rock or behind a tree or anywhere else. It's something that it grows. It reminds me so much of, I look at you guys and, I remember when you came in when you were young, and I remember what you looked like when you left. And now Mosier didn't come in when he was young. Mosier was already like 35, I think, when he came to the coup, And I mean, he played like, he came in a man and he played like a man. And, but everybody else here that I know kind of grew up in that process. And so, as you grow up as a player, you go from a guy with potential to being a guy who's a factor. You know what I mean? I mean, when you guys were seniors, it was like, if we got to go into a game and we don't have Rojas, it's like, we don't have any way to fill that. I'm sure that everybody here, if we don't have Kester, if we don't have DeBoer, I mean, we don't have a way to fill that. We need that guy. That guy's become a factor. Now, when he was young, you could tell that guy was going to be good, but you know how he got good? He got good because he trained, right? I mean, he hit the weight room, right? I mean, he did the off-season stuff and he did the drills. And of course, the diet that you guys had back then was, to get big, was beer and pizza, but it's different now. I mean, they eat real good stuff, and eating good stuff is important. And so you see that growth that happens, and you realize that, your faith life is like that too. You need the weight room, you need the drills, and you need the training table. And these things over time, they take you to that place where you become a factor. So that's about you, but it's also the same way in your relationships, right? You've heard the story about the guy that said, I told my wife I loved her when the day we got married. That should have been enough. And I want to say to that guy, how's your sex life? You don't just tell a woman you love her once and then say that's it, right? It's an ongoing process, right? You guys probably haven't been married long enough to know that, but you're learning it, and you're going to learn it more. Same thing is true with your kids. You know, if your kids, you think you're going to take them to church on Sunday and put them in Sunday school and that's going to take care of it? You're going to turn that over to somebody else, something that important? Well, it's not going to take care of it. You know, if your kids don't see you reading the Bible, if they don't see you praying, if you're not praying at dinner, if you're not, if you're not actively in the weight room, if you remember the guys that came out for the team that didn't go to the weight room and didn't do much in the drills, and you know, they showed up again in the fall. They were pretty good players. They were athletes. That's why they were playing on your team. But they didn't really put the time in. And as time went on, somebody younger came along. I remember when Bobby Booth came to USF, he started as a freshman. He was so good, we had to take Butch Carter and move him. You know what I mean? And you know, it was better for Butch and it was better for Bobby. We became a really good defense in that combination. Okay? But in other words, somebody passes you up if you don't put the time in. It doesn't mean you're not on the team. It doesn't mean you're not a part of things. But, you know, you're looking for guys to become factors. How do you grow in your faith with Jesus if you don't spend time talking to him? How would you spend time? You know, you and I haven't talked to some of you guys in forever. You know, we don't have a great relationship right now except from our past. But if we would have spent the last, how many years has it been? 35 years? Holy smokes. If we'd have spent the last 35 years one-on-one in it all this time, you know. I look at Ed Kester, you know, Ed and I have been, you know, we've been going fishing together since 2000, like every year. And I mean, he's like a brother, he's like a son, you know, I mean, we've shared a lot of stories over time. And it's because we've spent time together. But that's what it takes, you know. It's the same kind of thing growing your faith. I mean, you got to, you know, to put time in, you know. You find out that, another thing, living on the pitch, you find out that there's turning points. When I was coaching at Morehead State, we had a head coach, his name was Ross Forchie. He was also the head football coach, the AD, and he was one of 5 generals in the Minnesota National Guard. So this guy had, I don't know, he had a lot of energy, didn't he, to do all that. And, you know, he was a phenomenal guy as a head coach, just a phenomenal guy. And he told the story of when he took over the program at Morehead State, they hadn't beaten Concordia College. I can't remember the exact number, but it was some ridiculous number, like 30 years. I mean, it was like a lifetime. They like never beat them. And they get a player that transfers in from an FCS school down in, I think it was Tennessee, where he transferred in. His name was Ed Schultz. And Ed Schultz later went on and had some TV stuff on MSNBC. But Ed Schultz ended up, at my time there, was in TV and radio. He was the voice of the Bison and that sort of thing. But he played quarterback at Morehead State. And he transferred in. He had 2 years to play. And Coach Forchie was really good about, in camp, and media would come out and he would have them interview players and interview coaches, and he was always pushing his people, you know, out there to get, you know, I don't know, noticed, whatever. Well, they interview Ed Schultz before the Concordia game. Now think about this, you guys. This quarterback gets on there and he says, "I guarantee that we will beat Concordia on Saturday." Good billboard stuff, isn't it? I mean, you know, the guys over at Concordia heard that. Okay. And the guy delivered. He delivered. He threw a touchdown pass late in the game to beat him. And from that point on, the Morehead State football program took off under Ross Forchie. I mean, when I was there, we were, you know, 2-time conference champs. We were in the playoffs 2 years in a row. I mean, it was a very good program, very strong. And it had gone from, you know, really a doormat program. But there was that, you know, there was that turning point that you see that happens in teams. Okay. We have turning points as well, right? We call them in our lives, and you think back, you've had those aha moments, you know, where that thing, that relationship, that idea, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe, you know, you started a new business, you know, maybe whatever, maybe it was the you know, that aha that you had with your wife when you said, this is the one. I think this might be the one. You know, aha moments. You know, those are turning point things. So the same thing happens in relationships. You know, the same thing. So you find over a lifetime that these turning points, in general, okay, in general, revolve around one thing. They revolve around forgiveness. Okay, they revolve around the pitch and the forgiveness, something a little bit bigger. And you see it in teams. You see it in teams that become great teams. Why do they become great teams? Because all of a sudden, the things that I'm holding against you as another player, a teammate, or maybe my coach, for some reason disappears, right? Some reason it becomes not such a big deal. For some reason, there's forgiveness. You're able to forgive. And you find that what happens is the law of the gift takes place. The law of the gift. My life increases to the measure that I give it away. That's the law of the gift. And so you find out when you have a great football team, people are very selfless, right? There's people aren't holding grudges. You know, people are like, what can I give? What can I give to the group? I want to do my part. I want to give to this group. I want to do that. Okay. You know, I mean, some ways I guess we call that, you know, synergy, I guess, but I tend to look at that whole thing that happens in our lives as God's grace. And God's grace really comes to us in two ways. The first place it comes to us is a kick in the pants. That's what God's grace comes to us. I think it comes to us like a kick in the pants. And it tells us, you know, to repent. It tells us to repent. And it's something that we all want to do anyway. We all want to kind of like, we want a clean slate. We'd like to feel like the burden is gone. Okay. You find that great teams, life on the pitch, fellas, great teams move with a single heartbeat, don't they? You find out that when, you know, you can take all your burdens and cast them on the Lord. You can cast them off and be done with them. I mean, it's a lot easier to move with some synergy at that point. Okay, a lot easier. The second part of the thing that comes in grace is the sanctifying grace that, you know, that lives in our soul, that gives us a chance to, you know, spend an eternity with God. So that's, I don't know, maybe that's what I've learned over time. I've found out that all the pain and anger and stuff I had, I think when I was young, that I think I finally got to a point in life where I found a way to let that go. And, you know, sometimes if you don't let that go, you know, you can fly off the handle a little bit. And so being able to be free from that's pretty huge. Okay, pretty huge. I guess I just maybe close up by saying, you know, you can fill up with a lot of other things, fellas, besides what I'm telling you tonight. But everything else is just full of baloney. And we already talked about that. So blessings to you. It really is great to see your faces. And I hope I haven't preached too much, but just shared something that was in my heart. We have you know, this weekend, I'm going to share this with you. We're going to be down in Crofton, Nebraska, having a shoot down there, what we call a blue rock shoot or a clay shoot. Yeah, it's going to be a fundraiser. We're going to give a bunch of stuff away, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you have a chance to get over that, go to Grit Quest on Facebook, and you can get directions. And go to Grit Quest on my website, and go to the contact page, and you can register for it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to go. Got to bring your own gun. Got to bring your own shells. But we're gonna do what guys like to do and blow a bunch of stuff up. That's going to be fun. And if you got a chance to be there, it'd be awesome to see you and shoot some stuff with you. It is a fundraiser though, so talk to Kayla and talk to Alex. Those two guys got a house in Europe, got a D1 head coach. They can maybe float you some cash to be there. Hey guys,
Have
thanks.
Ray Lacariki bring his 22, Alex.
I talk to Ray all the time.
Tell him to bring his
I talk to Ray
22
all
up
the time.
there.
He's
He hit a pheasant. with
successful
it.
businessman.
He shot a pheasant with a 22. I think he could hit some clay pigeons.
Yeah, he might. Brad, I just want to say something. You guys see Kevin on the phone there. The reason his audio's not working, and he's listening to you guys through this through my earbud, and he's talking to me, and he especially wants me to say hello to you, Brad.
Oh man. Hey, Moj. I still remember the
up?
Jack State game with his shoe coming off, going into the end zone,
Amen.
diving in for the game winner. Huh? Guy was a tough player. Yeah. I've told stories about all you guys over the years. You've become a lot more famous in my small circle. It doesn't really make you famous, but in my life, you're famous. You guys, like, you're all celebrities. And anyway, thanks.
I got a question. Where does Kevin live? Where do you live, Kevin? Where does he live? Alex, can you help me out?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Where does Kevin live? Where's he?
Kevin, where do you live?
I know he can't
He lives
hear.
in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix? Okay.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm in the old west with a coffee cup and another guy on the other line.
More like two kids with a string between two cups, you know what I mean?
I can't hear anything, I'm just. Kevin said it the best. Too many concussions for him, not me. Obviously, yeah, but he and I spoke today, and Bob Young, and we encouraged him to be part of this. So we're all happy he's here. We're all happy you're here. Yep, me too.
Great to see him.
All right, it's a little private thing between Kevin and I, so they can't hear you, Kevin. I'm the only one that can hear you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to mute, guys, and you guys go ahead.
Okay.
Bruce Moeller.
God bless, Alex.
Is this Greg Carroll? It says Greg's iPhone. Is that Greg Carroll?
Yes.
Huh?
Good to see you, Brad.
I wouldn't know you if I ran it over you with a truck right now, but I wouldn't recognize you. But it's wonderful to see you. I just want you to know that.
It's awesome to see you, Coach. You're welcome to stop here and see me anytime on your way to the Bighorn.
Are you in Sheridan?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yep, living in Sheridan, still coaching football and teaching.
Oh, neat. Who's the head coach at Sheridan right now?
Jeff Mallory is the head high school coach.
Okay, Jeff Mallory.
And I coach at the junior high 7th grade program.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bringing those guys up good. Bobby Booth. Can Bobby hear me? I don't know if he can hear me or not. Bobby, can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. We need to connect, Bobby. It's been a long time.
Bob, I saw Sid punch in there for a second. How's he getting along?
Well, he's healing up
Okay.
from his fall. He fell off of back of something and hurt his shoulder pretty bad, but he didn't break anything. So
I'm still here.
Are you?
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Okay, you tell
I'm
him,
doing.
Ken.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine.
TJ wants your autograph. Could TJ get your autograph?
Yeah, I'm right-handed, so I hurt my left side. So
Okay.
you still won't be able to read it. But no, I'm fine, thanks. It's all good. Just put a crimp in my golf game, so I can't play with Bob and Thursday mornings anymore for a while. So, but he wouldn't give me any more strokes if I was hurt or not. So,
Sid, it's great to hear your voice.
Yeah, great job tonight, Brad. I appreciated what you had to say. It's great to see you. And I remember back in '82 when it all started. So and that's a little bit longer ago than '85. But it brings back such great memories. Of course, seeing all of you and hearing your stories. So my thanks and kudos to Chad and Bob for all of this. So thank you. Great memories.
Brad, I'm back on audio. Good to hear your voice tonight. Good to see you. You haven't changed other than maybe being a little more gray.
I'm more gray, aren't I? Huh.
It's funny you were talking about what Ethan's doing, and I'm thinking, no, he's like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Around. He can't be doing all those things. He's not old enough to shoot a gun.
Yeah. He's 43 and he's got 5 kids.
Good grief.
Catholic.
There you go.
You know, one of the funny things I remember from my freshman year is what was the old gym called?
Pierce.
Pierce. Rhonda would lead aerobics with the football team. And oh my God, Dale Dickmeyer, to watch him doing aerobics was just the funniest thing. And Alex, you weren't that great either.
Wasn't my deal.
No,
the tights were a real problem. Wearing those tights was a real problem.
Yeah.
During football practices, Ethan and I would run around Pierce Gym and we would fight over who got to pretend to be Luther Hippie and who had to be the opposing player.
I drove on campus the other day and what do we have, 80 by about 40 in terms of yards for a practice field there when back
with one goal post?
Yeah, and it's a swamp now. They've got some sort of a drainage thing in there. It's growing like cattails and everything out of it. It doesn't even look like that.
Brad,
it was almost sacrilegious. I couldn't believe it.
Brad.
Yeah.
The 80 yards, 20 of those yards were asphalt.
That's why we were tough back in the day.
We marked the field, including the parking lot for Burgess, just so we could run a kickoff play. So,
Coach Keipel, really good to see you too.
Likewise, Bobby. Likewise.
2 weeks ago, I think you were on, and I had to leave. We were at a family event, but it's always good to see you. I was pretty excited to see that you were going to be speaking. So thank you.
Thank you. I remember how upset Earl Craven was because you had those red, white, and blue shorts. He thought you cut up an American flag and he was so angry. That young kid out of Wyoming or Montana, wherever you were, cut up a flag and made shorts out of them.
Bruce is nodding. He remembers some of those days, those shorts. Those were good old days.
I still remember Earl Craven sweeping off the field at Carleton College in milk boots. He had those rubber milk boots on up to his knee. They were brown, just like the milkers wear.
Yeah.
And he was out there with a shovel, scraping lines. 84. You were there, Alex. That was still you, I believe.
Earl was a legend, man. He was a great guy. I learned more from Earl than in any class that I ever attended. Earl always had these little bits of wisdom that I remember one time I was in the gym and I had just taken a class in kinesiology and I said something about the all or nothing thing. And Earl was like 90 at the time. And he says, oh, that theory's still alive. And I was like, oh my God, that thing has been around for that long.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you remember after that Carleton game, their campus, I think you could have 2 beers with your meal if you brought them yourself, And so we were sitting there eating and saw a couple guys go by. So they called Russ Stewart over and said, Rusty, did you see that? And I said, they got beer here. Where? I said, well, in that cooler. You got to go right over by the milk cooler. Russ spent about a half hour in the cafeteria trying to find the beer cooler, and there wasn't any. It's just what the kids could bring it on themselves.
Boy.
You know something, Tim, that I met the guy that played tackle in front of me. He's the head of Northwest Mutual, and I was invited to this financial seminar, and he was up there with what's the name of that? Some big conservative money guy, and they were up there talking. And at the end, and he had gone to Carleton, and I walked up to him. I said, hey, and I asked him, and what year he graduated, and I said, oh, you remember that game? And he goes, yeah. And I go, we lined up against each other. We got off there talking, but small world.
Yeah.
That would happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, Kevin's one. You guys have no idea. I'm listening to Kevin, and you have no idea what he's saying to me.
Well, the funny thing is, Alex, you can say anything you want.
Kevin, nobody's hearing about me.
Justin Oswald, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kevin can hear you. Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
No, Justin. Can you hear me, Justin?
Yes, Coach, I got you.
What do you think about all these old timers?
Oh, it's great stories. I love listening to it. I just wish I knew more of you guys. You know, with my history with the coup, it really started in the probably 92, 93, watching my older brothers play. So I got to watch, you know, Jay Eidsness, all those guys play, watching Coach DeBoer play. Got to know him back then in the 90s. And then obviously had the pleasure of coming, I think fall of 2001 was when I was a freshman at the coup. So I was there when Coach Young, when you were still coaching and you handed the baton off to Kalen. I got to be there for 1 year when Coach DeBoer was head coach there. So I think I've got a great perspective of a lot of things, but I'm sorry, guys. I don't know much of you from the 80s. I wish I did. But if you're ever in Rapid City, please look me up. I'd love to sit and visit with any of you.
Give a little report on your brothers right now, will you?
Yeah. My oldest brother, Jason, he lives in Yankton. He's got 3 kids. He's got one that goes to that other school in Sioux Falls called Augie. And then he's got his second one's a freshman at USF this year. His third, he's got a sophomore boy playing varsity football, doing really well. Jason's a full-time farmer now on the family farm down there in Viborg, but he lives in Yankton. And then my other brother, Jared, he lives out here in Spearfish. Kind of run a family business, online business, him and his wife. So everybody's doing real good. Jared's got 3 kids as well. So everybody's good in Oswald, man.
Doesn't he go to Florida though?
Yep. He spent the last couple winters down in Florida. They just bought a place not too long ago down there. So I think they're going to kind of be splitting their time between Spearfish and Florida. So.
Wasn't that about where the hurricane hit down there, Hurricane Sally, where he was living?
I think so. I didn't ask him specifically yet. He's around that Rosemary Beach area is where they've kind of bought a place now. So.
Do you know where that is, Alex?
Yeah, Rosemary Beach is south of where Sally hit. It's there. It's not up by the peninsula. It's further south. It's where the other storm hit a couple years ago and took it out. And there's some pretty decent properties there now to be had. So
thank you, Justin.
Not exactly.
Hey, Greg Wilson, are you out? Where do you live now?
Out in California still, Coach. Not too far from Kalen, just south of there. I was outside a little bit ago, and I'll run out there real quick if I can put you on the laptop cam here. And I don't know if you'll be able to see much of it or not, but it's been smoky here as well the last few days. There's a lot of fires around us. Pasadena area north of there. It's not so bad now, but you can kind of see the sunset there. Those aren't clouds. A lot of that is smoke. and we've been getting hit from a couple of sides. Just south of us as well, on the south side, there's a fire in the Ukaipa Banning area, and part of my exercise I do now is get up and run. And this morning I got up and the smoke was still too bad to really be able to get up and run and breathe comfortably. Like Kalen was talking about before, the air quality just is so bad, and it's been really bad the last couple of weeks, really. You get up certain mornings and it looks foggy. Like some days I remember getting up and walking out of Burgess Hall and seeing the fog in around campus, and it looks a lot like that. It's really, really weird to see that out here in California, but just kind of what we've been dealing with.
Thank you for that report.
Greg,
Appreciate it.
what town do you live in, Greg?
I live in Hesperia, California. It's about 60 miles north of LA on the way to Vegas.
Okay.
All right.
TJ and I are going to sign off. It was good to see all you
Okay.
guys. I'll keep
Same
him
here.
on board, and we'll do it again. Brad did a great job. Good to visit. Tell Rhonda and all the kids hi.
Will do.
And hope all works out well for you, Kalen. Keep it going. I hope we can see you
Thanks.
play the running rebs out here sometime.
Great to see you guys. Yep.
Yeah.
Sydney,
We're
heal
driving
up,
over.
Sid. Thinking
See
of
you
you,
guys.
buddy. Bob, God bless you.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Thanks for being on.
Sure.
TJ.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Brad, you and Ed need to kind of tell us a fish story before we sign off, okay?
Well, I don't know if you've seen the picture or not. Ed's posted a picture out there of a fish that jumped out of the water right in front of him, and he's tried to pass that off as a big fish that he caught, when in all actuality it was. Oh, I see. He already checked out. Ed left. So no, actually,
I'm still on. You're disparaging me.
I am. We're getting ready to go fishing here pretty quick. We're gonna head out on the 27th for a week and head up to Montana and fish the Missouri and the Bighorn, and it'll be fun. Kalen, I can't imagine being a head coach right now with all this stuff going on. Holy mackerel! Well, you're having to go through, and I mean, all uncharted territory, and you're having to learn on the run and improvise, and it's great that you've got great people around you, and I'm sure you're doing an awesome job. But I do feel for you. It's like, wow. So
I appreciate that. One thing I was sitting here thinking about when you guys have been talking, and you just like tonight, and it happened in July too when I got on the call. Just seeing you guys. I mean, there's something, I don't know what it is, but like you guys are kind of, it's still home. Sioux Falls, University of Sioux Falls, all the memories, whatever, all the things that go along with that, hearing your voices, seeing your faces, just sitting here. I mean, it's kind of like I've been able to just, all the stuff that just makes life complicated right now, or your job complicated because of what's going on. It's good just to take this time and just shove it to the side for an hour and a half here and hear you guys talk and think about the times, we talk about the powder horn and going out there and whatever the memories may be. So, but anyway, it's great to see you guys. Raleigh, Nels, Coach Young, anyone else on the 97 team. I was a student coach that year. I just finished, and we played Ottawa in the first or second round of the playoffs at Howard Wood. It's a small world. The strength coach that I have right now, Ron McKeefrey, he was a safety for that team. And so I tell him every time when he thinks he's got some good advice that I got this, Coach Mack. Just remember, we were up 50-0 at halftime. And I was eating chili dogs because it was a really cold game. I was up in the press box at Howard Wood eating chili dogs by halftime as a student assistant. Coach maybe didn't know that, but now he does. And so, and then the head coach of that team, I actually coached with at Eastern Michigan, Chris Creighton. So was the head coach of that Ottawa team. You guys know probably Steve Ryan, was assistant. So obviously, Brad, you know everyone there that we're talking about. So small world, but yeah, Ron McKeefer was safety. What those guys remember are Andy Harold and Jason Grenovich out on the field with their shirts up to here, and it's like, I don't know, 20 degrees out, and these two behemoth tackles, and them knowing that was going to be a long day. So stories from the other side.
Nothing like Jeff Folkers, though.
No.
Yeah, I still look good in a half shirt.
Which half?
The back half. Yeah, but that's a picture of Reno right now, of the sun. Thanks, California. Kaylin, I hope you guys get to come over the hill and play. I don't know, maybe it'll be nice in Christmas time. I'll come and see you, but we'll see.
Shoot, you can play football anytime out there, though, right? Back here, when they start talking about playing football in the spring, I can imagine, I don't know, Alex, you remember what spring football was like, don't you? Back in South Dakota when the snow and I could
sometimes
never
it was still snowing out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to Kevin wanted to wish me, send you his love, and he said he'd be catching up with you before he disconnected.
Very good. Very good. Good to have him on, though.
So,
Any other?
Yeah. I just want to say something to Brad. Brad, a long time ago, you were talking about fishing, and Ed Kester, you talk about doing that outdoor stuff. And a long time ago, Brad had told me that he had wanted to go someplace special to catch big brown trouts in New Zealand. I just want to tell Brad that I've been there and I caught him there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, Alex.
I've been there and caught him there.
Pretty awesome.
It was
Why
a
don't
lot
you
of fun.
why don't you fly out here and go fishing with me on the Bighorn on October 4th, 5th, and 6th?
I've got something I promised Coach Young I'd do for him on the 4th.
Okay.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Yes,
I can't
sir.
believe that you would do that versus going fishing, but I think it's honorable. I will say that.
Very honorable. That is the date for my wife's memorial service. That's what we're talking about. Sunday afternoon on the 2 o'clock. Out at Bob Young Field too. We're gonna have it outside. Hopefully it'll be warm enough and no bad weather at that point. So
yeah.
Brad, I really appreciate what you said tonight. Thank you for being on and really sharing from your heart. That was very meaningful to me, and thinking clear back in '83 when I first came, I was kind of a rookie college coach. You knew that, and Earl Craven was the senior citizen, and here we are trying to teach this old guy something to change from high school football to college football and going up to Bemidji. And I still remember Jeff Jackson falling down on that great reverse we had planned. We gave him the ball coming around, and I kept waiting for him to come, and there he is laying on the ground. But I found out a lot of things that year, so thanks for coming on and sharing some memories.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the invite.
Well, can we bring it to a close, guys? Anything anybody want to say before we? Chad Remington, how about you, Chad?
Well, I wanted to thank Brad for talking too. Been talking to Brad quite a bit lately about his Great Quest deal, and all of you guys are mentors, and that's kind of what we all need in the world right now, is some mentors to some young kids and even some of us adults. I know it's important to me when I even talk to my in-laws who I don't believe are Christians, because they're always interested in what I did on Thursday night and what my Bible study on Saturday was about. So all of you guys, man, are all influences on somebody. I'm going to be at the shoot with Brad on Saturday. And I just think this outdoor mentor program is just really something really cool and really special. So I'd really ask you guys to check out his website and listen to his podcast. I listened to the Three Priests podcast today, Brad, while I was on my walk. Wow. That was really cool. That was really cool. So anyway, so in 2 weeks we'll meet again. And we'll get all that lined up. I'll get the recording up. And there was something else. Lost my train of thought. Anyone who can, keep in mind that date in October for coaches for Diane's memorial service. It's going to be a pretty cool deal at the stadium. We're actually going to talk about it a little bit tonight and do some planning. And then Kaylin, for sure, we're all thinking about you. Thinking of all you coaches. All you have to deal with, all the politics and everything, the weather, the fires, the pandemic, everything you're dealing with. When, man, all you want to do is play some football, right? Just line up and play some ball. And we're thinking about you all the time. Thanks for the update on Chuck. And I think that's about it.
Thanks for that, Kalen, for being on with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Tell Nicole hi from us too.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Coach. Good to see you. Love you.
It's great to have your daughter up here this summer. That was fun to watch her hit a few long balls, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Did she
had
bring
fun.
some of those softballs home with her that she hit over the fence?
Yeah, she brought a couple. Yep. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good.
So,
Thank you. Love you, man.
thank you. Love you too.
Love you all.
Yeah, appreciate all you guys. Greg, thank you for the text the other day.
Hey, you're welcome, Ken. It's good talking to you and connecting with you.
Brad, thanks for the call. Thanks for the talk today.
Hey, you bet, Kellen. Hey, give our best to Chuck.
I will. I definitely will. So, see you guys.
All right.